Hey guys, Close Luck. I'm your host, Manraj Graywal. This is my other co-host.
Serena, what? I didn't know.
I feel like they already know you enough, and this is our guest, very experienced and very much of an expert on the topic that we're going to talk about today.
Hi, I'm Sonia B, and I'm here part of Close Look Connections as the go-to dating, relationships, sexual wellness go-to person.
Yes, you are. And we have so many questions as like young teenage girls. We're literally just stepping into the dating circle. So we have so many questions, especially during the holidays. Relationships get a little tricky, and there's just so many things to do. So we're gonna ask you so many questions.
Well, first of all, where's everybody's holiday red? I thought this was going to be the holiday edition.
You know what? Clearly the memo just didn't go to us.
It's December. We've got a couple of decorations in the studio. I just got my nails done.
I know, I saw them. They look so good. Well, I mean,
a little red cardigan.
I like
my
it all.
snowflake earrings on.
Yeah, we're really underprepared.
Man, it's just too hard. It's too risky. We didn't want to do it.
But it's so sensual. It's the color of love.
That's
And we have none.
First tip, yes. Not only a holiday color, but the color of love.
My first question is not in the dating realm, but more in the family realm, right? Like we all have families. We might not all have boyfriends, but we have families, right? So my question is it important, like with everybody like giving gifts and like all these stores having like gift your other like significant other this or gift your mom this? How important are gifts? Is it necessary to give gifts?
I suppose that's a very personal question.
Yeah.
For myself personally, I decided a long time ago that for me, I love the holidays. Christmas is just, I love red, and I was going to wear a Santa hat. I'm kind of glad I didn't.
Really?
I was like, oh, it might be, I don't want to be the only one, and clearly.
No, I wanted to wear my Mary Stitchman.
I am the only one.
Hey, I'm in the vicinity. Okay, this is a shade of red.
Like, wait.
So I'm glad I didn't wear the Santa hat. But for me, Christmas is really about family and, spending time together. Especially, I hate to mention it, but in this climate of COVID and the pandemic, I really if more than ever has for myself and at least my family really kind of even more so has brought about the importance of family and spending time together. So, some families are more into the commercial aspect, but I encourage people to get away from that, the materialistic, the buying, the spending money. It can be a very stressful and draining time of year in that regard, financially, the malls, finding parking, like... It's, and like, who wants that kind of stress? Again, just given the climate of this continuous COVID dragging on, do we really need that added stress? Yeah. Probably not. So I encourage families and people to kind of go back to what the holidays is about, and that's baking cookies together, putting up the Christmas tree and the decorations, family dinners, and if you're sick of turkey, mix it up, do a theme. We in my family, we love themes, so being an Indian big family, My aunt will do Christmas Day. My other aunt will do Christmas Eve. We'll do Boxing Day. Everyone kind of picks a day, and it can be a bit much when you're eating like turkey or like ham all the time.
Sure.
So at my parents' place, we like to do a theme. So we'll do Caribbean Christmas and have like Caribbean food instead of turkey and all the fixings, which after 2 or 3 times can be like you get kind of sick of the turkey. So be creative and get back to what the holidays is all about. And Santa exchanges are great. So we do that in my family. You pick a name, you do a $50 max, and to make it even less stressful, everybody kind of puts in 5 gift items that they want. So you're not trying to figure out what to get. So those are little things I think, like if you still want to kind of have the gift exchange, the Christmas morning and all that, pick a name or set a max of how much you're going to spend on one another that's manageable for everybody. If you want to, because it is fun to unwrap gifts. So but get back to like what the holidays really is all about, I think, especially more than ever.
Right now. Those are amazing tips. Honestly, I don't have anything left to say. You covered everything. Okay, that's for family that you love, family that you want to spend time with. Okay, but we do have big families, especially with brown families. We all get together, and some relatives or family or like friends get invited that you don't necessarily you aren't
the best with.
Very well.
It's not like it's maybe they have
No, literally.
different views or like they have questionable life choices. Like it's just, how do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, all families have that, right?
Yeah.
There's always the one person, whether it's a brother or an in-law or even your own parents sometimes you can't stand. And so we all have a family member that we don't get along with, I'm sure. And Christmas, bury the hatchet. Like, if it's just someone you don't, that rubs you the wrong way, okay, what are you gonna, you're spending a couple of hours with them. There's probably other family members that you can talk to and catch up with. No one's saying you got to be BFFs suddenly with the cousin you can't stand, or whatever. And this is, I really wanted to address this actually, because I have a cousin who, because of certain choices around, the pandemic, doesn't want to speak to some other family members. So, it's kind of unfortunate. So like my aunt and uncle have sort of had to make arrangements to have 2 Christmases. So unfortunately, some people can't agree to disagree, and they need to have that boundary or that wall, and they can't be in the same room, and that's really too bad. I encourage people, like, forgiveness to me is really like a gift from God, and it's not even so much about forgiveness. It's really just about everybody's got their own opinions and their own experiences in life, and why bring that into the holidays? So if you're attending an event where you've got like I said, a family member that you really would rather not see, it's only probably only a night worth, and chit chat with other family members that you do like to hang out with, and be polite, be friendly, be cordial. You don't need to like start throwing cranberry sauce at each other at the dinner table. And then for families that people just can't really make amends. Unfortunately, you got to get creative and maybe do like have Christmas lunch with one and Christmas dinner with the other, or do Christmas Eve with one side and then do Christmas Day with the other. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? Sometimes people just aren't ready to forgive or aren't ready to bury the hatchet, and that's just how it goes sometimes. You can't force that.
I mean, there's like food there, like literally busy or something.
Totally.
That's always my solution, just hang around.
Totally. Another suggestion I have, which we love to do in my family, is games. That's a great distraction. It's super fun.
It is,
So, one of my favorite ones that, it brings everybody together. It's funny. Get the adults in there, get the grandma and the grandpa, the BB and the, get them all in there, and I'll wrap like a couple of gifts and like wrap it like in a ton of, wrapping paper, and then you have to go around the table with mittens on, unwrapping each layer.
Yeah.
And that really, so like you keep going around. It's like a musical chairs, but with a gift.
Oh.
So I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I can always
yeah.
throw a link into the thing. But yeah, that's like something that brings people together. It's hilarious. Everybody just ends up laughing, and it's a great icebreaker. So for those, if there's a bit of tension in the air, that's a great playing a game is just a great way to get over that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, unless you're really competitive, because otherwise,
oh, we've got that in our family too, for sure.
yeah, our family just ends up
And
like
what's
breaking
funny?
off.
It's not the children.
It's always the adults. It's
It's
always
like the older they get, the more competitive.
it's like their pride cannot handle losing.
You think it's the kids that, but no.
They're
it's
worse if they're drunk too.
Yes,
Oh my god.
get a couple of drinks and like the uncle or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like I raised you, I deserve
And,
that.
and like the gifts that I use are like, small, like, chapstick
That's
or
all.
like maybe a $5 Tim Hortons card or just, like a nail file, like stuff around. Like it's not, the point is to play the game,
Yeah.
not so much the little prize, but you see.
You need the prize.
older
Oh god.
older people that just get so into it. It's like it's just a chapstick.
But it's free chapstick.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why we go to Fusion Festival.
Exactly.
Entire point.
Anyway, yeah. So, holidays, happy times, try to bury the hatchet.
Yeah.
If it can't happen, get creative. And yeah, sometimes that means having 2 dinners with 2 separate families. Then play a game, icebreakers, Christmas movie charades.
Ooh, I'd win that.
So yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, families, like, at least we all know it's not like they're gonna go anywhere, but I feel like it's almost more stressful when you're in a relationship, especially if it's, let's say, your first time, like your first Christmas in a relationship, and you don't know how much to spend. Because it's like, well, you think, oh, we're gonna go a little easy on each other, but then they end up spending a lot more, and then you feel guilty, and then you're like, do I make it equal? What if I can't afford it? There's just like so many things that go on in your mind. So what would you say, like, how would we deal, with going about how much we should spend on our
tying
significant
into
others?
the previous question again, like what do the holidays mean for you, like, and for you, like, for the couple itself, like, is it about what the holidays mean, spending time together, going to the Christmas market or looking at Christmas lights? Is that what is meaningful to you during the holidays, or is it the material gift giving aspect of it, and for me, giving, like, I love giving, even if it's like a little chopstick, and I don't expect anything in return. So if you're gonna give a gift, like, do you expect something in return? Like, or is it something you just want to do out of your own heart? And that's why I love, like, making gifts, like, baking the cookies or making your own chutney and getting a cute little jar with a cute little label. Like, sometimes those gifts go a long way, and that includes for your partner as well. So, and of course, if you do want to get each other a gift and you are concerned about, like, value and one not upstaging the other, have a conversation and come up with a number, $50, $100, like what is financially affordable and suitable for both partners, so that no one feels like they're having to spend more than the other. Or the worst is when you are like, here's a little jar of chutney, here's diamond earrings. And you're like, okay, like, feeling kind of crappy. So a great solution to that is, sit down and have a conversation and be like, what's a reasonable dollar value amount? That's good. Or, like, I've had that question posed before, and I'm like, listen, I'm getting you something. It doesn't matter to me if you get me something. You can spend however much you want. I have something in mind that I've wanted to get you, and I'm gonna get it regardless. So I don't expect anything in return. If you want to get me something, that's cool. If you don't, that's fine too, right? One thing that I wanted to mention in today's show was also, like, some of the best gifts are, take into consideration your partner's love language. So I think the last show we did, I kind of wanted to tie in love languages, and what better time than to do it now. So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. So, what are love languages? They're the way we communicate in relationships. So, most people kind of fall in between one, or a lot of people find like they're predominantly one and maybe like a second one or a third one,
Yeah.
you know, like maybe a mix of a few. But I think like some of the most thoughtful gifts really take into consideration like which one of those your partner is. Like, so if your partner's love language, the way that he or she communicates with you is physical touch, why not like be like, here's coupons for massages?
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
like, what does that cost you? Nothing. Like,
Yeah.
and you can come to that sort of agreement instead of like having a dollar value. Be like, why don't we save our money and, you know, put it back into our relationship either during the holidays or after the holidays when you maybe need
Yeah.
it, and like, you know, take yourselves out for dinner. So
Yeah.
maybe you would have spent like $50 or $100 on each other. Use that to like do something like
Yeah.
dinner, or maybe stay at a hotel after the holidays are over and
Yeah.
you know, get away. Like, save that money to like put back into your relationship instead of getting each other like materialistic
Yeah.
goods, right? So love languages, if you are doing a gift exchange, like that's a great way. Or like buy them a massage, you know. Quality time is another love language. I'm just looking at my notes here so I don't forget them. So, you know, like, okay, we're gonna go do a hike, and you know, I mean, it's hard to do a picnic this time of year, but you know, ways in which you can spend quality time together. Go see Christmas lights,
Yeah.
Yeah.
go do Christmas market, you know, something around the hall, or go snowshoeing. Like,
Yes.
I think you mentioned that earlier
Yeah.
in the previous show. Like, go do an activity that takes in some of the winter, you know, sports or winter festivities.
Yeah.
And then like acts of service. Those are people that really like to be helped. So, you know, like the helping hand, and are there to, you know, make dinner. So
Yeah.
if you know your partner's that, be like, oh, one gourmet meal, you know, Saturday of your choice,
Yeah.
you know, and whatever. And so you go and you make them this elaborate meal of their choice. Like, again, just thinking outside of the box,
Yeah.
right? Like sometimes it's hard too. And you talked about like partners that are new. What about partners that have been together for years and you've
Yeah.
kind of like, they have everything.
Yeah.
You've got, you know, you've got them like pretty much anything you can think
Yeah.
of. And now you're like, what do I, cologne?
I know.
you
I feel like it's
anything?
almost like the more you are with this person, the more you're comfortable you are. So you're like, you know what? Merry Christmas. That's about it. Like you're done after that, right?
And
Right.
it just like thoughtfulness goes a long way. So, you know, going forward, like when October starts rolling around, keep your ears open a little bit. Like, what are some things that like your partner's like, oh man, I really need this, or oh, you know, and start making. I have a little gift like in my notes, and I just sort of keep tabs
Yeah.
on like
Yeah.
what people want. Like my nephew, he mentioned like, oh, he wants really nice gloves. He mentioned this like months ago.
Right.
And I wrote it down, and now I was like, where am I gonna get my nephew? Oh yeah, I have that list.
Right.
And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, leather
I
gloves.
have the
He
list
wants
too.
leather gloves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you know, a little bit of preparation leading up towards the holidays.
Yeah.
And for like what kind of ideas maybe that your partner's sort of throwing out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, as I said, just thinking outside of the box and stepping away from the materialism that unfortunately has come about in this
Yeah.
commercial world we live in, and get back into like the spending time aspect of it.
Although, I mean, it is almost harder because I know I have a friend and her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend now, but he was very materialistic in a way and she couldn't afford it. She had to, you know, do a lot of things, pay a lot of things, right? But he wanted that stuff. And so then it started getting like pettiness started getting in the way. And then there was like turmoil in the relationship. And her birthday was like a little while before Christmas, like a month or two. And so he spent too much money on her and she said no, and then it's almost like he expected more from her for Christmas, and then it started like, I spent so much money on you and you didn't do this, and they tried talking and it wasn't working. Like, you know, I'm guessing his love language was then getting gifts or something,
Right,
but
receiving, well, that is one of them.
yeah,
right?
well,
And,
yeah,
and you would think that like receiving gifts could mean like little, like I said,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know, a homemade item, or I knit you a scarf, and that could be a meaningful gift. But you're right, there are people out there, and no disrespect to them or anything, but there are people out there which are kind of more into the commercial aspect, and not just people but families as well. Like on the drive over, we were talking about like, what about if you're trying to impress your partner's family, who's maybe quite affluent, and they are big into lavish gifts. So how do you compete with that if you're not from that kind of family that's got a lot of money to throw around? And it's a bit of a conundrum. And in that regard, it sort of comes down to values, right? Like, what are your values? And sometimes and that's sort of a long-term thing. That's just not during the holidays, but that's almost like the value of two people in a relationship.
Exactly.
How do you make that work long-term if like money and, financial success and having a lot of like lavish things is important to one partner, whereas the other one might be a little bit more down to earth in that regard, and doesn't really, shops vintage, is more about reuse, recycle. Like, how do you make that work? And sometimes when your values and your beliefs don't match up, like, better to find out now.
Honestly, like, in the start, like, communication is so important. Like, does this matter to you? Does this not matter to you? Like, whatever works for, like, the other person. I can't believe, I mean, it's what, like, her ex-friends, or her ex-friend, your
friend's
your
ex.
friend, it was, like, a very, very new relationship, so I feel like it just went too fast, to the point, like, she didn't even know, like, her partner's, like, love language or whatever, or, like, what they value.
Or, like, changed up on her, probably.
So, my question was, when it's, like, new relationships, like, during the holidays or whatever, like, it's so, it's, like, literally, like, it's in your face. It's, like, get in a relationship.
Right,
It's
like, escalate.
I know. All the Christmas movies just telling you, like...
like, oh, look at that girl. Like, she found a, like, what are you doing?
Like, I'm expecting to just, like, fall into the snow and someone catches me, and then all of a sudden there's, like, snowflakes coming down.
I guess that's why it's important to keep that in stride. So it's very easy with holidays, whether it be Valentine's is even worse. Imagine starting to date someone like 2 weeks, and maybe that's a good Valentine's Day, but like imagine starting to date someone 2 weeks prior to Valentine's, and then boom, here's like for February 14th. So the holidays can have a tendency to just like escalate relationships, and I'd say pause and keep it in stride. Like, so yes, maybe you've just started dating someone, and now here's Christmas, here's the holidays. Another interesting topic that comes along with that is families. Like, let's say you just started dating someone. What's the expectation to like have them over at the family dinner now that it's Christmas? Are they expecting to be invited to family dinner? How do you feel? How does the family feel? Is that too soon to be, inviting this new partner, which you may not even know that well, into your family, let alone Christmas dinner with maybe extended family. But then what if they expect that, because now you're dating?
But what if that would be so... Like, it's literally, it could go either way.
It could go either way. They could be expecting that, and you could be like,
that would be awkward.
Or you might want that, and they could be like, that's very scary. What's going on here? So I think it's good to have those conversations and, figure out what are you comfortable with, and, come to an agreement. Like, are you going to step into family dinners and lavish gifts, or are you going to keep things kind of like in perspective and understand that, maybe you've only been dating for a couple weeks or a few months. What's acceptable here? The holidays is not always the best time to start opening certain doors, so keep things in perspective. And you don't want to be, again, we're talking about gift giving and stuff like that. I don't think you want to be spending tons of money on someone you've just met, right? So keep things in perspective. It's a nice gesture maybe to like give a homemade gift, or again, talk about gift like maximum dollar value, or again, as I've suggested, use that money to do a dinner together or something like that, instead of the spending money on gifts.
Yeah.
But have that conversation, because you know, the worst is to feel like you've failed an expectation,
Right.
you know, and that the worst feeling is when you think you've come further along in the relationship, but your partner's like,
Oh, God.
no,
Yeah.
are we even dating?
Right,
Oh,
right. But I feel like these conversations, they get such a bad rep because it kind of seems like such a mature, like adult thing, like where we just sit together and we're having this conversation. But it can take place
Sometimes,
anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, it can just be like, and it doesn't have to be like, I need to talk to you.
Right, right.
It could just be like, hey, so I was wondering, you know, we've just been dating a couple of weeks. Like, you know, do you want to do like a gift exchange? Maybe we could keep it like $40,
Yeah.
you know, and just kind of bring it up very casually,
But
you
Yeah.
know,
people
or
are so scared. They're like, I don't want to give the wrong amount. I'm like,
No.
if you can't even talk to your
Yeah,
partner.
not even that, but what if they end up becoming so mature? They're like, oh my god, you like, do you? I'm insecure now.
Right, right,
You
right.
don't think this relationship's going well? You don't want me to see your family? Like, no, my dad's gonna kill you. Like, what do you?
again, why it's important to have those conversations, like, you know, where what is your family all about, right? Like sometimes tenure and time is very important to families, whereas other families are like, oh, this person's in your life now, we want to meet them right away.
Yeah.
So, you know, express that to your partner so they know it's not personal.
Yeah.
you know?
Or
if they don't understand your family, like your family matters.
or the
too.
worst
Like,
part,
they're
your
like-
mom doesn't even like the guy, and
Yeah.
then he wants to come over for dinner, and you're like, oh no.
No.
Well,
Like, how do you break that?
question from the audience.
Yes, question. If you have just started the relationship, like say 2 weeks prior to the Christmas time, and then you realize you two are two different people, like you were just mentioning, one
Right.
is very materialistic, whereas the other one is not.
Yeah.
Should you break up before the Christmas?
Before Christmas.
Yeah, when you break up, right. You ruin the holidays for them forever.
Oh,
Well,
honestly,
and that's the thing again, you know, with like, yeah, any holiday, birthday too. It's like
Right.
you
mean-
realize I don't want to be with this person. Their birthday's coming up, or Christmas is coming up,
Oh
or
my
Valentine's
God,
Day
right.
coming. You know, and I think there's sort of this like kind of idea, or sort of almost even a norm, that you should wait till after the holidays
Yeah.
to do so. My perspective is, for me, if I know that someone's with me and they don't want to be with me, I'd rather know then and there.
yeah.
Don't spare me and drag me through the holidays.
Right.
I appreciate it, but at the same time, my outlook is, if you know that you don't want to be with me,
Yeah.
I want to know right away.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time. I don't want you wasting your time spending any more time with me, and I don't want my time to be wasted.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it might suck. I might cry,
Yeah.
and you know, it might taint the holidays for me, but my perspective, this is just me. I would like to know sooner than later if you want to be with me or you don't
Right.
want to be with me.
Yeah. Or if you're
Can we use COVID as an excuse to stay away from that?
oh no. If you've already made out with this person. If you already made out with this person.
Yeah, I don't know if you can backtrack. Like,
No.
okay, we've been dating a few weeks. We've made
New
out,
variant,
but now,
that new variant.
but you know what? You could use family and be like,
my-
look, I'm seeing my family a lot during the holidays,
Right.
and my family wants my
Oh.
bubble to be quite small.
They're gonna go, I'm not small enough for you, but I'm not as like important as
That's like real toxic.
yeah. No, but I
Just-
mean
but you know, be real. Like, I
Yeah.
think it's important to be real and authentic. I think that's what people appreciate the
I think a lot of
most.
teenage like relationships, they just aren't, because they don't know themselves, so they don't know the relationship. They don't know how they should behave, so it just gets confused and it gets muddled. And I feel like, I know I hate like using the word like be mature, but it's like you just have to, like, you just have
Well,
to.
experiences are what
Right.
will mature you,
and
right?
sometimes
Like,
it's not even age. Like I was dating an older guy and he was far more immature than me, and
Right.
it made me get like a headache all the time because I was compromising for this person, right?
Yeah.
And like I honestly broke up like, what was it, 3 weeks before Christmas with
Oh,
my
so
boyfriend.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you? That's a great, you know, topic. How do you cope with breakups during the holidays? They do happen, and again, I'm sort of encouraging people to, you know, not drag anybody through the mud, regardless of the holidays. Maybe that's not the best advice. You know your partner, and if you know that they're going to be devastated and it's going to ruin the holidays, okay, maybe in that situation, maybe it is better to wait, right? So I think each situation depends, each relationship, you know, you got to look at what your partner's like, and yeah, if you want to, sometimes breaking up right at the moment is not the best, especially if your partner is stressed out by holidays, or maybe they have a member of the family that they can't see for some reason, and they're already torn up about that.
Yeah.
Maybe it isn't the best time to break up. So as much as I'm encouraging being honest and truthful and authentic, you know the situation, and you know what how your partner copes with things. So keep that
But,
into
yeah.
consideration. But yeah, so breakups do happen. How do you cope with them?
She dealt with it by like smelling all the Bath and Body.
No, I mean, okay.
Self-care.
Okay.
Self-care.
She is the queen of self-care. I'm not even kidding.
Oh my
How
god.
do you cope with breakups during
Yeah.
the holidays? Just the way you cope with breakups at any other time.
Yeah.
Self-care is probably number one.
But also, like, I mean, for me, it was mentally draining me. Like, I was, like, mental health wise, I was not okay being with this person. And so that's why I broke up, even though finals were coming up. You know, we're in university, finals are coming up. It's
Right.
like life or death here. He's
Right.
third year and stuff.
Literally.
And then but I couldn't do it. It was just too much. It was constant arguments, constant fights, and it felt like nothing was getting better. And I was just too tired. I have to focus on myself as well. My mom didn't even like this guy anymore. Like, it was really, really bad, right? And so I was like, you know what? I wanted to wait till January, but I just couldn't.
I don't.
And so
I think it's good that you.
Yeah.
Like, it gives enough time before the holidays.
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, and also that's the thing. It's like you're already like stress. Like holidays does unfortunately bring on some stress.
Yeah.
I try to reduce the stress, but still, there's always so much going on, and so many parties and events to attend. Sometimes it's like it is stressful. Even if it's like happy social stress, it's still stressful. And sometimes you don't want to like bring like. You're like, I already have to get mentally into like a mental space to deal with all this holiday stress. Why do I want to like be with this person that stresses me out?
Even
Yeah,
more,
or like
you
getting
know, yeah.
arguments while it's Christmas time. Like, Christmas to me, it's my favorite holiday. I go all out. I was about to wear a Mary Stitchmas sweatshirt, but then I was told to look somewhat professional, so I came in a sweater
I think
instead.
it's professional.
But I mean, I do too. Like, Stitch with the Santa hat. Come on.
that's
But
amazing.
I don't want to ruin my holiday because he's like constantly making up these arguments or is insecure
And I don't
or
even think you have
whatever.
holiday stress. I don't think you
well,
have
unless
holiday-
it's called friends, because
Yeah.
someone is so ambiguous. Like, she doesn't even know what she wants. So how am I supposed to know what she wants?
This is like the man. But that's happy stress, okay? I
Yeah,
was giving us
yeah.
happy stress.
Happy stress.
Happy stress.
happy social
Yeah,
friends stress.
and like with
Yeah.
finals, my last final is on the 19th. Like, I don't need all of this like stuff.
So
in my
there's
head.
there's a perfect example of like why it's important, like why it's good to break up with someone. You know, not good, but like you know what's maybe advantageous of breaking up with someone prior to the holidays is you alleviate that like stress and burden,
Yeah.
especially if it's a relationship
that's a
that's
little
already in
toxic.
turmoil
Yeah.
and toxic, where you're arguing all the time. Who wants to bring that into the holidays? And that you're mentioning exams where you need a clear head, and you know you need to be like focused on your schoolwork.
time.
Why do you want to bring like arguing
Yeah.
and, you know, this negative toxic person into all of that? Even though you're probably sad, at the same time it frees you to really enjoy family and focus
Friends.
on family and friends, and focus on exams and focus on the holidays. So other ways to cope with breakups during the holidays, I mean, in a way it's a great time to break up because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
So keep yourself busy, you know, source out your friends, communicate how you're feeling to, you know, your tight BFF peeps. Like if you're feeling shitty, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling crappy and sad, you know, call up a friend and be like,
Or she can just spend time like searching for my gifts.
Yeah,
Honestly,
exactly.
that's why I'm giving her all this.
but there's tons to do. So many lights.
Yeah.
And so Christmas markets
Such
and
a happy
Yeah.
time.
And honestly,
take
like,
on a hobby. Be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make scarves as gifts. You know,
Gingerbread house is literally.
oh, yeah, I
just
built
what
one.
you do. Thank you. See,
make your own decorations, bake. You know,
Yeah.
like really take on a project. It's a great time to distract yourself.
Yeah.
So coping with breakups is a lot of time again just sourcing out friends and family and keeping yourself a bit distracted, and self-care. Do the things that you love to do, you know, whether it's shopping or, I mean, you're talking about like going and smelling all the candles. like there's so many wonderful holiday flavors.
There
Yeah.
are.
Sniff and smell. Like, get yourself a new candle, draw yourself a bath, get
Right.
yourself a new like peppermint bath bomb.
Oh, wait, I got a
or,
body scrub too. Like,
you know, have a night or an evening like to yourself.
yeah,
Sure.
and I know a lot of people like they don't want to break up on holidays because they want to go like do all the coupley stuff. Like I want to go see
Right.
Christmas lights. I want to go like
Yes.
snow, whatever.
But
This
you
and
can
that.
go with your family
And
it's
friends,
just
yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
like-
exactly. You know, for me, I sometimes like this time of year, really, I reflect on like I don't spend enough time with my parents. You know, like yes,
Yeah.
they're annoying, they're your parents, but doing something like going
Oh,
around,
really?
like watching lights,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
going to go
Plus,
look at lights.
You're
with your
probably
parents.
you're probably not the one paying too, which is great.
Oh,
Money.
that's
so
the best,
go
yeah.
and pick the most expensive like,
Christmas
holiday, like market,
Market.
whatever.
Banking with partner.
Going out,
family.
yeah, going out to like an expensive restaurant, the $3
Right,
star
right.
type of restaurant, and being like, "Here, here's the bill, mom." Thanks.
Love you, mom.
But it's a great time to be like, we don't like mother daughter
Yeah,
things,
or even like
mom
friendship
and dad.
They just love it when you
know,
spend time with them. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing. Like especially when you get older. Like I always used to be with my family, right? But now because I'm always out, every time I am at home, like they are so happy.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, like how are you doing? Like this, that. They're just constantly. And I missed it, man. I miss them being like, what are you doing right now? What are you like? Where are you right now? Come downstairs. Let's watch a movie. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
totally.
don't realize how much you miss it until like
Yeah.
I mean, again, your family's annoying. Don't
Yeah.
get me
Yeah.
wrong, But if you can put a couple of hours aside, like put that all aside, and just like watch a movie or
Yeah.
go look at lights, or even like a task like shopping. I hate shopping, but
Me
like
too.
go shopping with your mom,
Sure.
like for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And you get to spend time with them, which is important,
Yeah.
and they are happy that you're giving them the time of day, so yeah, I think that's really important as well. To
Yeah.
just in coping with a breakup of a partner, find friends and family to spend that time with.
Yeah. Plus, if you're old enough and like your family allows, get everyone drunk in the family and like start playing some games or something, or watching like this like hard hit movie. At one point, my dad was doing like somersaults down the stairs because of John Wick shooting up some. It was insane. It was so funny. But like, do that. We got like a whiskey, like the bottle thingies, like the fancy the place where you put in the liquids, whatever it was, and we broke it out just to use that.
Yeah, it's
Like,
it's really a great time to like distract yourself
Yeah.
with different things. So, and on the flip side too, like it can be a lonely time of year as well. Like especially if you don't have your family here. I know I have a lot of friends that are from abroad and they don't have their family here, or if you are single and all of your friends are in relationships,
Ooh.
it can be a lonely time
Yeah.
of year, or going to family dinners, and all your cousins that are married and have kids, and your brothers and sisters are married and they
Right.
have kids, and you're like the only one that's maybe the bit younger or whatever, and you kind of feel like a bit lonely, or you don't fit in if everybody's hitched. So yeah, it can also be a very isolating time of year as well. And
Right.
so how do you cope with that? Right? Again, reach out to friends and family, spend time with your parents. Your parents will love you unconditionally, hopefully. Hopefully most.
Unless receiving gifts is their love language.
And if you've got brothers and sisters, also a great time of year to go shopping together.
Stay in a public place.
Or, like,
it gets really
12 a.m. Go to McDonald's, like run.
yes. yes.
Yeah, like and Christmas movies, like
Yeah.
it can be a lonely time of year, but you're alone as much as you make it, and it's also a wonderful time to maybe like source out some new friends.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
we're getting into winter activities, so hey, maybe you've never snowshoed before, or maybe you've never skied before. There's tons of like meetup groups and stuff like that
Yeah.
you can join and make new friends, and do a beginner snowboarding, join a beginner snowboarding group. Like
Yeah.
it's also a wonderful time to like get out there and learn new winter activities with
Yeah.
and make new friends at the same time. Maybe you've never ice skated before, so maybe
yeah.
it's time to
Yeah.
learn how to ice skate.
I'm horrible. I'm like the
Especially if
granny.
you've been your whole life and you're Maybe it's a good time to get on the ice and learn how to stay
I will.
up.
I will always use the granny canes. That's all I can.
I used to love doing it to my grandma. I used to like take her cane, so now I get to use it on ice. Amazing.
You know, or I mean, we had a little bit of snow there. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll get some more snow. Go out and toboggan.
Really
you know,
hope not.
so yeah, like if you're alone this time of year, reach out and again, and if you have to be alone because of circumstances, pick up a new hobby. Like
Yeah.
pick up a new like start learning how to knit. And I mean, it sounds kind of grandma-y, but it's pretty. It's like it doesn't have to be knitting. Maybe you want to like
Meditative.
yeah, it is meditative, but maybe you want to like master making, I don't know, macaroons. Like, everyone's got a hobby that they love,
Yeah.
or maybe you want to like a lot of this time of year, a lot of people are gaining weight. Maybe you want to take on some fitness goals,
Oh yeah.
right? Like there's
It's
always
so hard. There's so much Christmas food everywhere.
I know.
But if you're alone and you're, don't have a lot going on,
That's like more the reason to eat.
exactly. Totally. So yeah, and then if you on the flip side again,
That's depressing. Can we switch the topic?
Yeah.
on the flip side again, what if you are in a relationship and it's such a busy time of year and you're stressed out, it's financially drained, maybe you're part of these families where gifts are a big deal, and you know what, even shopping and all of that aside, like there's just so many parties and
Yeah.
Christmas things, work parties, friends are having parties,
Right.
and maybe you're doing bake exchanges and all this kind of stuff. It can be quite stressful. So how do couples keep the spark?
Yes.
It can be, December can be like tough.
Yeah.
And then if you've got kids, like kids are out of school for half of it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
How do you keep the spark
why you
going?
don't-
Or how do you even do anything when the kids are there?
Totally. So, and I think it's very important because, despite it being the holidays, you also don't want to lose touch with your partner. That's something that's like important to keep going. And, during stressful times, whether it's Christmas or any other stressful time, it's important to make sure you're maintaining that, spiciness
Ooh.
in the bedroom. So
Yes.
how do you keep that going? I suggest making sure, so, pull out the calendar. All right, you've got Christmas parties. You're seeing lights with the family. You're doing bake exchange with the girlfriends.
Yeah.
Lots going on. Find a date. There's got to be a Tuesday evening, or I don't know, Friday at lunch. Make sure you're scheduling that time with your partner to keep the bedroom and the spiciness alive.
But is it like like how would you scheduling a time to have fun?
Yeah,
Would
right.
it not like almost take away from that?
Well-
Plus, like, what if you're tired? What if one partner's tired and the other one's just so horny? Like, how do you deal with that?
Like, it's on the calendar, and they're like, I don't care.
Well, for sure, you don't want it to be too regimented, but if you're struggling to find time, then it's okay to kind of look at the schedule and be like, where can we fit these things in? And, I have a friend who went on a date recently and the date was falling asleep in the movie.
Oh God.
Like, what do you do, right? And are you going to get mad? I mean, the person's tired.
Right.
So sometimes that happens and, you want to extend a little bit of empathy, but at the same time, you want to
That's
also
hard.
show up. You want to also show up with your A game if you know that, it's in the schedule. You want to show up with your
Wake them up.
So, so it's a little bit of give and take, right? Like always, relationships are always a little bit of give and take. But
Yeah.
I would say if you are struggling to find like that time together in the midst of all the holiday madness, sometimes it requires a little bit of scheduling.
Yeah.
But also, maybe you've come home from a party like on a Saturday night. Maybe there's been a couple of drinks.
Yeah.
Sure, you could just pass out.
Yeah.
Or you could.
Advantage of it. Don't keep the tiredness at bay. Maybe you keep that kind of like flirtatiousness happening before the evening, and you go hard stop at 11:30. We're leaving the party. We know we're gonna be a little bit buzzed.
Yeah.
So 11:30, we're out of the party, and we're gonna finish the party on the bed. Right?
Right.
So, and it's okay to kind of have those arrangements, and it's sort of fun because you're at the party together, and maybe you're kind of like giving each other the eyes,
Right,
because
Yeah.
you know at 11:30 your bed's
Right.
and the bed's gonna be bouncing at maybe 11:45 depending on how far
Oh
you
my
are.
god, I literally love all these word usages.
I know.
Like it's poetry.
No.
So yeah, very important to keep the sizzle during the holidays.
Yeah, or even if, let's say, you are both somehow not tired or because of like Christmas or the holidays or whatever it is, but it just isn't working, or like it's just boring, or it's like the same thing all the time. Like it can get boring, honestly. You might as well introduce something new. You know, people
Absolutely.
have kinks. Who knows?
Well, we were talking about gifts, and I forgot to mention that what better gift than the gift that pleases both partners, right?
Exactly.
Like there's so many
Love.
wonderful bedroom toys out there and
Yeah.
intimate products. You know, like for women, lingerie
Yeah,
is
that's it.
is a
Right.
gift for both. Like,
Exactly.
how wonderful and sexy does it feel as a woman to put on like a beautiful, you know, lovely new lingerie piece,
Mhm.
and then like your partner's gonna love it too.
Yeah, you
So-
love to take it off too.
so that's a gift that pleases both, and there's tons of couples toys and
Mhm.
bedroom products that are like for both partners to engage in. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And like there's ones with remote control.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Right.
where one partner can have control of the remote.
Or
and-
like even let's say at one of those parties, you put on the remote and it's like you gotta
Yeah,
handle it.
when you've decided the hard stop at 11:30, you could take out the remote control toy and make the especially if it's one of these boring dinners.
Yeah.
You know, where you're like, oh man, we have to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be so boring.
Yeah.
Control toy.
Or even like those the Christmas gifts, like not Christmas gifts, Christmas games, but couple edition and 18 plus edition. You know, like there are some like maybe take some shots, maybe take some clothes off. But, you never know exactly what to do.
Absolutely, yeah. There's tons of fun couples dating games
Yeah.
out there.
Or like guess who the Santa is. If you guess it, you gotta take something off. You know.
Yeah, there's tons of ways. I mean, there's some really cute little Santa outfits out there
Yeah.
too, and you could play like bad Santa, naughty elf.
Right.
Exactly. Add a chocolate.
Yeah, so tons of ways to keep the creativity and the sizzle happening. And yeah, we were talking about gifts. Like it's a great time to pick up a gift, like a fun, as I said, like a fun toy for the bedroom. And,
Yeah.
and then you're keeping kind of a cap on the spending as well. And you're like, this is a gift for both of us,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it takes again the pressure off of like, what am I gonna get you? How much do I spend?
Right.
Maybe, and that's a fun adventure to like
Or-
go online shopping together
Yeah.
for that toy, or
Yeah.
maybe you go into a shop and
Right.
like make it a bit of an experience and pick
Or-
out something together.
Or even like, let's say your partner wants to do something that you've just been like no the entire time. Maybe as a Christmas gift, you let them do it. Or you do it.
You do a little bit of research on it. and,
Exactly.
yeah, maybe your partner's like, I'm really into tying, and you've kind of been hesitant. Maybe you're like, all right, you know
Yeah.
what?
I'll buy the rope. Let's
Here's
go.
a bottle of wine. If you're of drinking age, of course. Here's the bottle of wine. Here's the rope. Here's my body.
And it's pretty cheap too.
Exactly, right? And who knows? You might discover a few things about yourself.
Exactly.
So,
Oh,
on that note,
That's good for today.
yes, I think on that note, we've got a show.
Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.
Oh my god.